Shout out Near Falls with D Hall's podcast.
Welcome to Near Falls with D Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. Talking Near Falls with D Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
And we are live. It is just your boy D Hall here tonight, as Kaz is actually at the seeding meeting for the Westmoreland County tournament. We're going to talk a bunch about that tonight. Super jam-packed show. First things first, I hope you all had a great Christmas, a great New Year, great holidays. It's always a busy time of year. The holiday tournaments are going on. We have so much stuff to talk about. I have two fantastic guests due to come on the show tonight. Lucas Kapusta, of course, knocking off a top 10 guy this week. We're going to talk about that, and the 149 for Lock Haven. He's killing it right now. So just doing really good things. Excited to talk to him, of course, the Hempfield alum. And then on the other side of the city, if you will, over in Avonworth, the Avonworth head coach, they knocked off Quaker Valley last night in a big rivalry duel. Excited to talk to him. I talked to him earlier in the year on my coach's preview, which was awesome. We kind of talked about his goals, and that was kind of a big goal for him. I went back and listened and watched that today, and I'm excited to talk to him about that. So really good stuff. Two great interviews for you guys. A bunch of stuff to talk about. We're going to dive into PA wrestling. You guys know that. But first things first, without further ado, I'm going to bring him on right now. And that is Mr. Lucas Kapusta. How are you, sir?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
For some reason.
Okay. Well, let's try this. Check your little mic at the bottom. The little gear at the bottom, brother man. And check that and see if you can check the audio. See if it can come through. I'm going to remove you for now. Keep that. You guys know how it is sometimes. Little technical difficulties as it happens at times there, and we'll figure it out with Lucas as, like I said, buddy, as you're backstage trying to figure it out there. The little gear at the bottom, we can check that, and the audio might give you a better. Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up. Can you hear me now, my friend?
Yeah, I hear you now.
All right, there we go. A little technical difficulties, but hey, that is live, not television, but hey, damn near right now. I mean, we're live on Instagram, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, all the good stuff. But first things first, man, congratulations. What a freaking week for you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you a lot. I appreciate it. It was a lot of confidence. Gave me a lot of confidence.
Let's talk about that, man. Obviously, you come from Hempfield, great program there, and then you go out to Lock Haven in a program that's obviously one of my favorites. I see that, I see the confidence grow. I've had the ability to talk to you the last couple of summers, just being around CWA and stuff, just really seeing you grow, and I'm super excited about it. Where's that confidence coming from, my friend?
Just my coaches here, my teammates, past coaches, like high school coaches, my parents, like everyone just believes in me. From, some of the youngest guys on our team to the oldest guys, like they just all believe in me and tell me that I'm really good. And, I'm starting to believe in myself now, and I think it's starting to pay off.
So talk to me about the big win this week over Princeton. What were your feelings going into that? And just, like, obviously there's a lot that goes into college wrestling that people don't know about. Like there's fans, right, that you kind of see on that side, but like you have schoolwork, you have weight cut, you have practice. There's so much stuff that goes into Division I wrestling that people don't understand. Just talk about your mindset going into this match.
Yeah, so it's actually weird. Usually when I'm wrestling like a guy that's, I know he's ranked or, has some good wins or, good credentials, like I get in my own head and I'm like I start, thinking a little too much and for some weird reason this going into this match, like I had no nerves at all. Like I was so confident. I felt really good. I had a good match before against Binghamton, felt good. And there was something that I guess clicked, and I honestly knew I was going to beat him.
I love that.
Yeah.
Talk about moving out to Lock Haven. What's it been like being a part of the Rise, being a part of like Scott Moore and just, Ronnie Perry, the whole crew out there? Just talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, Lock Haven's it's a small place. It's a small town. There's not much to do. And I think that's why we do so good because we don't really have any distractions. Like it's just, you go home, you relax, you go work out. Like there's no, there's some other stuff, but it's small. You can stay focused. And then, obviously our Coach Moore's been here for, honestly, I don't even know how long, but quite a while. And he believes in us and believes in the program. And, um, he puts a lot of work into each of us, not just the starters. He works with everyone because, I think that's how, a head coach should be.
Talk about what you're doing off the mat. What is the off-season program? What's it been like just trying to get prepared for this season?
So I'm actually up here like pretty much all the time. We get a week off in June, a week off in July, and a week off in August. And besides that, I'm up here training, 2 times a day at least. But also like in between that, like we have a lot of good spots to like fish and stuff, and hunting season just happened, and since coming up here I got into that a lot. So it's just a good
What do you like to fish for? Like what's your favorite fish to go snatch?
Probably trout.
Yeah, trout fisherman, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool,
fun.
man. I like there is a lot of places up there, and I know that's a big thing for like the outdoorsy guys is that you guys like the area up there is a lot of woods, right? A lot of streams, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, outside of town, that's just woods and streams, pretty much.
Love that. Talk to me about what you have coming up. How are you going to kind of try to continue this momentum forward?
Yeah, so next Thursday we're going down to Davidson, North Carolina, and we're wrestling North Dakota State, which should be a fun one because obviously, my dad went there. So I'm kind of excited to wrestle them. And then we wrestle Brown down there as well and Presbyterian. So we've got 3 duels there. And then after that, it's pretty much just like our MAC duels. Like I know we have, George Mason, Northern Illinois, like all those, but really no more tournaments. Just, make weight every week. That's about it.
Love that. Next couple questions I have for you. We'll kind of switch gears a little bit. Talk to me about your brother. He's on a run, man. I love watching him go. And the Westmoreland County tournaments this weekend. That's what I led with that. As Kaz is over there, and just talk about that whole thing, man. Your brother wrestling the county tournament, you wrestling the county tournament. Just talk about that.
Yeah, Nika's having. He's not having the success that he wants, but in my mind, he's having a lot of success especially after last year. He hurt his elbow, was out for, pretty much the whole season, comes back, makes a really good run, and then, he loses in the quarterfinals to the kid that ended up winning the state tournament and was honestly beating him the whole time. So in my mind, I thought he was, probably one of the best kids in that weight, and then, lost in the blood round. But, he's doing all the right things. My dad is obviously the high school coach there, so he's getting a lot of work in with him. And my dad, he knows Nico better than anyone else. Alongside with young guns, with Jody and John Stripmatter, they're helping him out too. So I'm excited to see how this season ends up. I'm hoping he follows me to Lockhaven. That would be.
I had a few conversations with some coaches over there, and I'm not one for pushing anyone in any sort of direction, but you're his brother, so you do your thing on that front, my friend. I love that. Big old smile for you. Talk about the last thing, like I said, the Westmoreland County tournament. That's a big topic for myself tonight. You wrestled in it, of course. It is a prestigious event. It's a dogfight out there.
Oh yeah, it's one of the, outside of your Powerade tournament that we went to, that's the toughest tournament I would say in the state. It's better than some of those regions out east, and I think it's a great tournament to kind of see where you're at. I know he's gonna wrestle Seiden from Norwin.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see that matchup. I know Seiden's really good, but I know Nico's just as good, and he can compete with those guys. He's doing all the right things.
I love that. Anything or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go, my friend?
I'd like to shout out my parents. Without them, I wouldn't be able to, do any of this. They support me. They come out and watch me wrestle at pretty much every tournament. I think this past weekend was actually the first time they didn't come out, which, kind of helped. Maybe, I got a good win.
Hey,
but
we're not saying it is, but hey,
yeah,
I love the shout out.
Yeah, them, and then obviously my coaches here, them supporting me, and then I gave a shout out to my high school coach Vince DeAugustine, because he got me to this level, and then I still talk to him daily. He's great.
And that is, I think, the perfect way to end this interview. My man Vinny D and my man Lucas Kapusta. Good luck the rest of the year, my friend, and thanks for hanging out with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. All right. And that was Lucas Kapusta. And as I'm looking back here, I believe that was my mistake. So it's not Lucas's mistake on the early going there. So don't worry about that, folks. But, man, we have so much to dive into. So you guys just kind of settle in with me. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. We got a lot of wrestling talk ahead. Like I said, Kaz is over at the Westmoreland County Coaches Association seating meeting. I can't believe I said that right. It's impressive for me. But that's what it is, the WCCA or WCCCA, one of the two. So excited to see as those get posted. I'm kind of keeping my eye on X and on Kaz's Twitter. Of course, we are live on Kaz's Twitter, which he always lets us do, even whenever he is not on with me, which is fantastic. He knows that's my boy. I appreciate him. So yeah, I believe it's either there or over on the Westmoreland County Sports Network page, one of the two, but I'm going to check Kaz's Twitter first. Okay, so he said WCCA seeds are releasing in about an hour. Stay tuned. That was an hour ago. So, jam-packed show for you guys. Let's just get right into last week's action. Again, Powerade was last week. I haven't talked to you guys since then. We had 14 medalists out of the WPIAL, which is, I set the over-under at, believe it was 10. I'd have to go back and listen and check, but I think that's what I said to Kaz when we were talking. For me, 14 is pretty good. That tournament, it's no joke. I don't even know how to say it. Outside of I looked at Beast. I looked at Iron Man. Outside of Super 32, I'm arguing that's one of the, I'm putting that second, I think. That's a dog fight as nuts at that tournament. And I was telling some of the coaches that I went over. So I was over there. I posted some interviews of the kids that placed out of the blood round, and then I caught a couple interviews afterwards. I tried to get most of them. I think I got like 8 or 14, something like that. Of course, I've talked to Landon a bunch. I just had Cooper on, so I feel like I've touched most of them, which is great. But talking to all of them, it was just, you had to be ready to go, and that was whether you had a seeded kid or not a seeded kid. It didn't really matter. All these kids were really freaking good. The Sems, the Blairs, the Malverns. If you saw a kid in the bracket that was not seeded, you still had to be ready to go if it had that one of those schools. The St. Ed's, of course, Lake Highland Prep won the damn thing. It was crazy. So let's see if we can pull those up as I'm going on and on. But so I went down to, so I started there as I was finishing. Started there, I went down to Southmoreland to go see the finals after I watched the blood round at Powerade. Let's see here. Of course, I should have led with Landon Seiden, and winning the Powerade championship, which is, I talk about stars in the WPIAL. He's one of the brightest and the best, no doubt about it. Obviously, number one in the country. You can argue probably the brightest and best. But super impressive win for him. He gets a major in the finals. Just kind of ran through the bracket, honestly. Just was super impressive to get to the finals and get it done. But you look at, obviously he was the only one that made the finals there. And let's share this screen so you guys can see the same thing what I'm looking at, so you're not just staring at my ugly face. So let's do that. All right. So as you guys can see, Landon Seiden winning the championship there, super impressive. At 121, and you could go down to the third, fourth place match. Mario Hutcherson, like I talked about, go out, check out my interview with him on my YouTube channel. That was one of the coolest interviews I've ever had. First of all, I put the dude on stream and he's holding a freaking boa constrictor in his arm. Like literally things wrapped around his arm. And he's just chilling, hanging out with it. And, talking about his, talking about his business with his family, with these snakes and stuff, which is, uber cool. I found it super cool. I'm not a snake guy. Clear as day, not a snake guy, but I can appreciate, the love and passion for something when you see it. So it's very cool. It was a great interview. Talked about, of course, the Kiski family, and I'm very fond of that group over there. Of course, that whole region is that they know their wrestling, no doubt. Colin White, of course, a guy that kind of gets overlooked over there down there rather in West Green, goes out and places fourth. Just someone that's been consistent, a really, really good guy. He's big, physical, heavyweight, athletic. I love watching him go. He's impressive. Mason Horwath, another guy that I talked to, really great weekend. I believe he got his 100th win. Just very good stuff from Mason, and of course, really good genes. Even though he took fourth and didn't come out with maybe what he ultimately wanted, but man, he wrestled really, really good there. Moving on down the line here. We see Hunter Snyder out of Greater Latrobe, of course, a guy that I've been really high on since he was a freshman. I say it often. I watched him wrestle at, I believe it was the Central Mountain Tournament, King of the Mountain. He wrestled Sean Taylor there, and it was like a dogfight, even though Sean kind of cleared it a little bit. But, man, I was impressed with him, and he's been just that ever since. Just a guy that I think is going to be problems. Of course, he has struggles with Mario Hutcherson, as you saw kind of in the consies, but I think a guy that is a rock solid state medalist potential. Moving down the list here, Hudson Homan, a guy that we talked to Coach Wes Phipps about before the tournament, Kaz and I, and he had high hopes for. He wrestled fantastic, comes out with a 5th place finish, top 5 at the Powerade. Man, I love watching him wrestle, and like I said, just good stuff, and a guy that he was hoping for. And of course, I buried the lead on the guy that he's, the 114-pound champ, Chase Karenbauer. Of course, we're not WPIAL. Those are not WPIAL guys, but they're pretty darn close. Anyways, moving on down the list here. Tommy Gretz from Connellsville goes out and takes 6th place. Very, very good stuff there. Lee Dressman from Canamac, of course, we've talked about him a bunch. As he's moved down, he was 114, moved down to 107. Man, I just, we've talked about him a bunch. We don't need to talk about him anymore, but going to be problems throughout. Wrestled fantastic in this tournament. Cooper Roskowski taking 7th. Liam Costa taking 8th. Owen Ivsick taking 7th. And listen, if you haven't watched Owen Ivsick's, maybe I would say the last 30 seconds, he was down big, going with like 30 seconds, 40 seconds left, something like that in the 3rd period. Straight launched the dude on his head and pinned him. Impressive stuff. Earns his way onto the medal stand and then comes away with a 7th place finish. I was, impressed with the Bentworth boy there, man. Good stuff. Kai Vioma, interviewed him as well. Very cool to see him go out and get on the medal stand. I could tell he was really pumped. Fell just short last year from making it. Goes out and gets a 7th place finish here at 145 pounds. It's fantastic stuff for Kai. Another Connellsville guy at 127 pounds, Nolan Rice, goes out and takes 8th rather at 127 pounds, and then 7th place or 8th place at 107 pounds is Bryce Thomas for Moon. So Moon gets 2 guys on the place stand. Franklin Regional had Mikey Ruin. I skipped over him. I apologize, but he wrestled great. His blood round match was fantastic. Just like we talked about, 14 guys on the stand, 4 Powerade. Really good stuff there for the WPIAL, in my opinion. Like I said, I set the over under 10. Maybe that's my bad, but I just have seen how tough that tournament is. And, we had a bunch of guys in the blood round, and, some guys pushed through, some guys didn't. It's just how it goes. But that is no joke, like I talked about off the top, and we kind of breezed through that. And it is something that is it used to be WPIAL dominant for years. Like when I grew up and was watching it, it was, WPIAL would have 4, 5, 6 champs sometimes. Not the case anymore. It's definitely a nationally ranked tournament, and it's very cool to see some of our best go up against the best in the country and kind of see where those guys are at. So before we switch gears and kind of move on to the next tournament, and we have a bunch of them to talk about, let's get into a couple little ads.
Is not game day without Pizza Bosa. Perfect for the family and the guys. Right next door to the PPG Paints Arena in downtown Pittsburgh. Dine-in, pickup, and delivery available from 10 a.m. to midnight. Stop by 741 5th Avenue or call 412-575-7575.
Hi, my name is Antonio Reyino, owner of Reversal Health and Wellness. I've been in healthcare for nearly 20 years and seen the effects obesity can have on someone's health. That's what inspired me to offer GLP-1 therapy at Reversal Health and Wellness. New evidence-based research has shown remarkable benefits of the therapy, including reversing fatty liver disease, improvement of sleep apnea, and slowing the progression of heart and kidney disease. And unlike national online companies, you won't get lost in the mix and you're not just another number. You'll receive a personalized treatment plan tailored to your goals and your health. And if you're not near Newcastle, Pennsylvania, no worries. Telemedicine options are always available. Also at Reversal Health and Wellness, we offer IV hydration therapy. We offer 7 different IV cocktails infused with nutrients designed to restore balance, boost energy, and support optimal health. Rather, if you're an athlete training for a competition, or a fatigued mother or two, or recovering from an illness, IV hydration will benefit you. We're located in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, on Wilmington Road at the Maisner building. You can either book online or call the office. Thank you.
All right. Of course, those were 2 of our fantastic sponsors. Help make this show go. We appreciate you guys. And let's move on down the list here into Southmoreland. Great tournament. A little bit more WPIAL centric. Obviously it's not even close to the Powerade tournament, but it's still a really good tournament for the WPIAL. There's a bunch of other teams that get involved from outside the WPIAL, Northeast, Corey, things of that nature. Let's share the screen again so you guys aren't staring at me. All right. Bingo. All right. So West Allegheny goes out and gets the championship over Butler, 210, 152. Corey area from up north gets 3rd, and Northeast takes 4th. Burgettstown rounds out the top 5. Let's get into it. Let's go down to the placing matches. So some of the stuff here will kind of I'll breeze through it, but there's some interesting notes. Look here. Grayson Stroop from Beaver County Christian. Pine Pelleter, sorry out there, from Pine Richland. Chase Brown from York. Ricky Hamill, West Allegheny. Parker Holt. There's some really good names here. Freedom gets another guy, Caden Millward, on the stand. So moving on down here, 5th place. Again, look at, you look in here, a lot of River Valley. And that River Valley, I believe, was the school from South Carolina, which Jeff Shaw's brother brought up, of course. Fantastic stuff to see him come up, bring a team, and they had a lot of great kids. You look right here, bunch of them placing top 5, top 6 in this tournament. Logan Noyes there for Burgettstown over Logan Slovic at 152. Savannah taking 5th, a guy that I'm kind of high on. I really like Savannah. I think he is in a tough weight class, but I love the way he moves, love the way he wrestles. Really good stuff there. Moving on down here, 3rd and 4th place. McCollum from Best Center. Again, we talked a little bit about this with Kaz. Best Center's got a sneaky little squad here, and we'll get into it a little bit more. But McCollum over Ben Kinney, of course, Ben Kinney. I'm a big fan of him, and going out and taking 4th, moving his way up the list there, trying to figure it out, which I love. Logan Carson over in Sully Stoltz at 121. Grayson Morris places 4th for Albert Gallatin. Let's see here. Shane Cronin over Andrew Poland from Greensburg, Salem. Max Kosher over Carter Caddis from Burgettstown at 139. Elijah Miller over Blake Shepis at 172. And looking, Carmen Battaglia, he plays, let's see here, he's 189, he took 4th. That's another Beaver County Christian guy. So they got a couple kids there for a really small program, which I talked to their coach about, which is really cool to see. Joseph Geller there for 215 for Fox Chapel. And then this heavyweight for Plum, this Frankie Grisolius. Sorry out there if someone texts me or messages me. I hope I get it right. But man, he battled Cam Dana in the semis, and he is a problem, man. I someone that, obviously you guys know I love the big boys, and someone to keep our eye on there is Frankie Grisolius. All right, championship finals. I love these finals. They do a fantastic job here at Southmoreland. Westmoreland Sports Network comes in. Kaz had the interviews. If you guys haven't watched it and you're looking for something to do, go check them out. That was really good stuff. Of course, Powerade is also on Flow. So, we're lucky, man. I was talking about this, and not to go off on a big soliloquy because we got a bunch of stuff to get into, but man, where we're at today compared to like where I grew up, some of these coaches, a lot of these coaches grew up, like there wasn't a lot of video where we can watch these matches. I just feel so blessed to be able to watch a lot of these matches, even though I wasn't there, which is really good stuff. Okay, championship finals, Gavin Morris over Carter Baker. This Gavin Morris from Albert Gallatin is a problem. Very impressed with him. I think he's going to do really good things there for AG. Michael Johnson over Bennett Ferraro in one of the premier matchups of the finals in my mind. Dogfight, really, really good defense from both guys. Bennett Ferraro was dead to rights and did this. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but kind of like his leg was up, like a kick, kind of kicked Michael's chest to get out of the single leg. It was a dogfight, and I've talked to both their dads, and they've wrestled a bunch, and two guys that are definitely familiar with each other. Caden Braun goes out and gets a championship for Freedom at 121 pounds. Very good stuff. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Freedom crew. Santino Sloboda continues his just murder path, man. He's just smoking dudes. And even though AJ Snatchko got teched, it was really good for him to get there for West Allegheny. But Sloboda's on a different level, no doubt about it. Snatchko is he wrestled great in this tournament. But it is impressive to see what Sloboda's doing just across the board there. Moving on up 139 pounds, another West Allegheny Indian, Thomas Benchko, goes out and gets the championship at 139 pounds, 4-0 over Griffin Tinsman of Marion Center. Very impressive stuff for him to get the finals and get the dub there. Let's see here. Jonah Early over Owen Campbell, 2-1 at 152 pounds. Two long-standing guys for each of programs, respectively, Fraser and Plum. Both, I believe, 100-win guys. I know they are both 100-win guys. Moving on down, a guy that I think is one of the surprises of the tournament. Very impressed to see him come out and get this championship. Sutton Stoner from Butler goes out and wins the 160-pound championship over Braden Reynolds from Freedom, 17-2. Man, just impressive run for the Butler Golden Tornado there at 160 pounds. And to finish off the last couple weights here, Malachi Peak and Noah Lehue from Best Center. Again, we talked about it a little bit above, but this Best Center squad, there's something. They got some juice, man. I'm really impressed with them, and just really these two in particular. We'll talk about Noah here in a couple minutes when we get to Tricata, but man, he's on a tear for 215. And then Cam Dana goes out and wins the championship here at 285 pounds. And again, a tough weight class. He had the Grisolius in the semis who gave him a tough match. This was a tough match in the finals. Ultimately found a way to get his hand raised. Really, really good stuff there. So as we finish up here at Southmoreland, I'm getting ready to pull Mr. Maisner on the show. Let's see here. Or email, my friend. Some of the behind the scenes there for you guys as I bring Coach on. Let's see here. So, guys, so we're talking, just finished up Southmoreland there. I think it is a great time to talk about a couple more of our sponsors. I just Had a great day at one. I went out to Fox Run Golf Course with NJ today. It was great. Snuck out there. What is it, January 7th or 8th today, guys? I mean, I played 9 holes today. I was in heaven. It was awesome. Took NJ out there. He was slopping around in the mud. A lot of fun. So again, Fox Run Golf Course out there in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Just, a place that, family atmosphere, very cool stuff. And, they have a little bit of a promotion going on. You buy 200 gift cards and get an extra 50 for free. Also, you avoid the full price increase and purchase for your full walking pass or riding pass by January, or purchase your full or walking season pass. Sorry, make sure I do that right. By January 31st to pay the 2025 prices. So last year prices. So talk to them for more. Go on Instagram, Facebook, or reach out for this number at 724-847-3568. Again, that is Fox Run Golf Course up there in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Had a lot of fun today. Thank you guys for having me. All right. I'm going to send out this message here for Mr. Maisner. I'm excited to talk about his team's performance. And again, we talked about him, or talked about his squad rather, on the coaches preview. He came on the show and talked about, it's been a, building season to get here, and it's kind of all coming together. And I'm super excited to talk to him about that, as he's going to come in here in just a little bit. So we kind of talked about some of the holiday tournaments, Powerade, Southmoreland. We're going to dive into Tricata. We're going to dive into Max. We're going to dive into what's coming this weekend. There's so much stuff to get into, guys. We're already 37 minutes in, which we talked to Lucas for a little bit there. But, man, just I love this time of year. Just really, really good stuff. And Kaz, like I talked about on the top, Kaz is starting to tweet out some of these seats. So if you guys, you're either live on my channel, Kaz's channel, YouTube, whatever, go on his channel, and he has these seeds pumping out. I mean, he's already up to, I believe, as of 17 seconds ago, according to my phone, up to 133. So much to talk about with those seeds. But yeah, check that out as we talk to Coach here.
Hey, what's up, Donnie? How are you?
My man. How are you, Coach?
Oh, I'm doing good. Sorry if my voice is a little scratchy. There was a lot of hooting and hollering yesterday.
I would say so. So let's just get right into it, man. I talked about it a little bit off the top. This was a match that we talked about in our coaches preview, one that you guys wanted, one that you circled as a team. How were you able to get it done?
Just a lot of teamwork and discussions and belief. Taking over for this program. I learned a lot about teamwork and the value of that. I even recently was talking to Vertus Jones, and we were talking about some things, and had some of these football players not sure if they were going to come back out because of the long run they had. And he helped out a lot because he coaches the football squad over there. And
not a bad guy to have in your corner there, Coach.
Absolutely. And he was, yeah, he's a great, asset to have. And he, just remind me, it takes a village, and just surrounding ourselves with, positive people, and getting the kids to buy in. Like it was a struggle. I ain't gonna lie, to get some of these football players to buy back in after that year. And I think that's really what probably took everybody by surprise a little bit. I had faith in it, but we could have very easily went the other direction, right?
I heard it came down to heavyweight.
It did. Yeah, it did. And it came down to heavyweight, and Braylon Brown really came through. Did a fantastic job. Did his job, like we told him. He didn't have to do anything crazy, just keep it simple. All we got is win by 1 point here, and me and the other coach, Don Ozinski, we had it matched up probably 4 or 5 different ways, and working with Austin, like they're awesome. You know what I mean? Like we've gotten to know them so well, and we're doing the co-op with the girls, and my son wrestles at OMP, and we've been on some dual teams with them, and I've gotten to know him very well. Actually, his my son's principal is Bruce's dad, Jeff Anderchak. So it's kind of we're all tied in together, and it was bittersweet to know that it was going to be a tough match, and whoever's going to win definitely was going to make some noise in the WPIAL in this section. So um, once we told the kids like this is what it means for this school, um, yeah, about a couple weeks ago they just bought in, and we've just been working really really hard. I'm super proud of them.
So talk to me about that, man, because I find that to be a big issue. It's no secret. Western Pennsylvania football is massive, right? Everyone
Yeah.
loves football here in Western Pennsylvania. There you get the fans, there's thousands of people in the seats, everything. But how did you get the kids to buy in and say, man, this is great for your football career too?
Yeah, just Duke Johncore, their head coach over there. He's very supportive. And he understands the importance of being a dual athlete, especially at a school like Avonworth, how small they are. And it's no secret, like Bryce Metz was an animal. Played linebacker, one of the best players on the team. So him, Dimitri Valseris, phenomenal athlete. Gavin McDowell, phenomenal. Logan Kroll, Jackson Kroll, like it was no secret that he saw like all these football players excelling with a little bit of training in the wrestling room, and he just buys in. We don't have to argue about it. It's not you're taking my guy, or anything like that. Actually, when Gavin recently, he was one that was kind of on the fence.
Mm.
And Virtus immediately got in touch with him and was like, "Buddy, that's just not gonna work like that." And
I
then
love that.
yeah, Duke Johncore was right there too, and the support is just phenomenal. Like it's just
Mm.
it's growing and growing and growing. Even after our win last night, Garrett Volcano, was one of the first ones to get a hold of me and just congratulate me, and that just goes to show that you know everything that he worked for, we're continuing on and building on it, and they stay involved. You know what I mean? Like it's a great community, and that's pretty much how we're keeping these football guys going. Keep it lighthearted, give them a
Yeah.
little bit of time off. But they're buying in, man. They're really understanding what we can do here, and we're super excited about it.
So let's talk about the future, man. Obviously, big win for you guys last night. Just talk about where you think you kind of fit in the WPIAL and what you think the ceiling of this team could potentially be.
Yeah, I mean it's been a pretty wild ride as far as thinking about the future. When I took this over, I said, about 4 years, I think things could get moving in the right direction. I learned a lot from some great coaches throughout my years. All the guys at Cannon Mac, and just everywhere that I've been, I've just had some great, great people to help me along the way. And a lot of them just said, yeah, it's like it's consistency, and moving forward, we only have 2 seniors. We have Austin
Mm.
and Jackson Kroll, and obviously those are two
Both
big
hammers.
losses. Yep, Austin being a big one, but as some people are going to know and are starting to know, Logan Kroll is going to be that guy.
I love that.
Yeah, and we brought up 5 freshmen. So in last night's squad, it was 3 freshmen, I think 4 sophomores, and 1 junior and not even a junior, and 2 seniors. So it was just we're pretty young, so the future's looking bright. We just got to get them to take that next step. Like try to put
Mm.
in a little bit extra work because our off season's not where it should be. But again, the relationships I built at North Hills, at
How
Cannon
about the
Mac.
immediate future, my friend? Like where you fit in the WPIAL? What do you think now?
Yeah, it's I want to be like super humble. I don't want
Yeah,
to
that's fine.
overdo it, but I see us winning the section.
Let's go.
Keystone Oaks knows that we're coming. They got a good squad. They got a big squad this year. We have that circled up in our room. I printed out a big poster. We had a big QV poster that we put
Yeah.
up. We got the Keystone Oaks, which we got next week, and they're. I think we get obviously, unfortunately, Carlington, is down. So we get past Keystone Oaks. It'll be the first section title in school history, and it's something awesome to think about. But I don't want to
One thing at a
get
time,
too.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I one day at a time, one thing at a time. But even moving from there, once we're all healthy, we're getting to our weights now, and that was another big part. A lot of these football guys were heavy, and
Mm,
they're like Jackson Kroll, he shredded like 10 pounds like that in a week.
mm.
So like he's at a good weight. We have some of these other kids that were a little big that are now down to weight. Ethan Radkowski's at 139. He's looking better. Andy Lee, he was wrestling 52. He's now at 45. So um, we got another one that's coming into. He's a late addition, but Riley Wiggins, he's a 114 pounder. He's a scrappy little dude, and he'll start helping out down below. Trying to get us moving before we get to Austin. So I think I would like to see us get a couple more deep in the WPIAL this year. I know last year, making it second round again, school record, school never been that far. But if we win the section, get a good seed, I don't ever doubt that we could at least make it to the semis.
I love that. That's what I was hoping to hear, and I think
Yep.
that you guys are well on your way. I love the win last night, and again, Quaker Valley, a tough team right there with you guys. Great win, great stuff over there. I guess the last couple things I have for you, individually going towards the future, are the guys where they wrestled last night? Is that kind of where you're thinking? I know the drop just happened, but kind of guys, the descent plan, all those things.
Yeah, like the big one obviously being Austin as far as like his weight. We were trying to bulk him up a little bit so he could get ready for college, but
Okay.
he just the dude's just thin, like he eats and eats and eats and he works like his tail off and he's still just walking around at like 129 and we're like, I just can't get him any bigger. So that's a
Hey,
great problem to have. 123 was never in the cards for him. But yeah, like Logan Kroll at 154. That's where he'll be. That's going to be a tough one to get through. To get him deep, but he's growing. He's a freshman, but he's growing. And then just some of the others. Yeah, I think where we're at is how we'll run into the postseason. I think we'll make a pretty good showing this year. I'd like to at least get 10, to WPIALs and 6 or 7 to the regional, get a couple state qualifiers. So that's the goal.
I love that.
hmm
Coach, anything or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go?
Definitely shout out to Quaker Valley. I mean, the hospitality and like what wrestling is, right? So like I've seen it before and we've all seen some of those crowds. Like I remember the days of, Cannon Mac and Kiski, like or Trinity. It was just like awesome. You know what I mean? And for a small schools like us, you don't really get that gym packed. But last night it was phenomenal. I mean, both sides were getting filled up. So I even had to tell the kids like, don't get nervous. Like you're gonna go upstairs and it's a little busy because they're not used to that. So it was
100%.
like Austin and his crew are just phenomenal. Like the way that they carried themselves and how cordial they were. Like
Mm.
it was just like two teams going at it, and it was a great atmosphere. So I definitely want to shout out to them. All their kids did a phenomenal job. It's great to see Bruce Anderchak back.
Dog.
And then yeah, and just my crew, they're just working their tails off and I'm so proud of them. They're doing a great job. The school came out. We've probably had at least 12 to 15 teachers come out. So it's becoming a thing, it's let's go Lopes and everybody's on board and we're just gonna push through and I'm super excited and thank you guys for having me on. It's always great to get on here and talk wrestling to you.
Always. I mean, you know that. I love talking wrestling, especially whenever a team's doing some historic stuff for the school. I love that. I love history, and you guys are trailblazing, and I got to be a part of that. I love hearing it.
I love it, man. I hope to see you at a match or two. You know, we got the Keystone Oak one. That's going to be a big one. I mean, that's going to be a huge celebration. I don't want to, downplay anything, but to be the first team, those first football players to win a state championship, and then that crew to win section title will be, I mean, they'll be legends. It'll be awesome.
I
I'm
love
super
that.
excited.
I love that, Coach. Very, very cool interview. So excited to see you out there. And like I said, I'm going to take a peek at that schedule. Maybe I'll find my way over there to Avonworth High School there on a
It's
Wednesday night.
It's going to be awesome. I appreciate it. Next Wednesday. Anybody looking for a good one, that's going to be a good one.
I love it. Coach, appreciate you.
Thanks, Donnie. I appreciate it.
All right. And that was Coach of the Avonworth Lopes after a big win over Quaker Valley. Again, we talked a little bit there. It came down to heavyweight. I believe it was 39-36. We talked about the history there, and I said that, I love that kind of stuff, man. The first, ever section champions, and, football boys buying in. Just great interview. Thank you so much, Coach, for hanging out with me. Just fantastic stuff. All right, let's dive back into some stuff. But first, we got to talk about the golf course on the other side of the tunnels, the other side of the Squirrel Hole tunnels. That is Maisner Valley Golf Club and owner Vince DeAugustine. So pumped to have them part of the program. I love everything about that course. Everything, you go out there. It's basically just a great family atmosphere. Multiple bars, multiple what was I going to say? Multiple bars, multiple nines. Obviously, it's a full 18-hole course. But on the front nine, you can actually play under the lights on certain times, certain situations. Beautiful patio. Just, a great course nestled there in the Westmoreland County. Again, thank you so much to Maisner Valley Golf Club and Mr. Vince DeAugustine. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's dive back in, shall we? Some more tournaments happen. We talked a little bit there in the beginning about Tri-Cata. And, this is a tournament here. It's a lot of like Washington, Greene County area. You find the finals here. We're going to go down in a second. It's pretty good stuff. So let's put this on the screen for you guys. That tab. Bang. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. Just wanted to make sure I had that right. All right, there we go. That's better. Okay, 5th place here. Gabe Green, Peters Township over Gavin Morris at 107 pounds. Caleb Delaney of Jeff Morgan over Dustin Mace. Jacob Gusek over Jordan Moore. Gage Samol over Andrew Barkey. Noah Collins over Daniel Smith. Jacob Wright over Carter Caddis. Bryce Crossan over Colton Stalker. Caleb Patton, a guy that we've talked about a bunch with the coaches over there at Washington, and Kyle Klein. Angela Millie of Shar Houston. Garrett Newman over Gino Orlandi. Levi Yetter and Paxton Thomas at 172. Pusa Terry over Archie from Burgettstown. Clayton over Jones. Rush over Rockwell there at 285. Moving on down here. Third and fourth place match. Grandel, Penn Baker. Kolarczyk over Morris. McClure over Huff. McClure, another guy, of course, big fan of. Ely over Cronin. Canali over Wright at 133 pounds. Levetis over Circo at 139. Junko over Dennison. Bonus over Finnegan at 152. Calgara over Rush at 160. Just looking down some of this stuff here, not to kind of skip through these, but again, you look at like Canali was right there to place at Powerade. He goes out and takes third. Like this tournament's no joke. All up from Trinity over Balaga. Malachi Peak, a guy that we just talked about from Southmoreland, goes out and takes third. He's looking good. We'll talk about his mate here in a second. Calgaro, of course. Caden Smith wins the championship or wins third at 172. Moving on down to the championship finals at 107 pounds, a guy that we've talked about a bunch, Lee Dressman. Tex Parker Jennings in the finals. Dressman's been a problem all year and just continuing his path down in the 107 pounds. I see no difference. He is going to be a problem no matter where he's at 107.14, but even though he's down at 107 now. Jackson Hoy over Medlin. Tucker Main over Gavin Bricker at 121. Tucker Main goes out and wins the championship for McGuffey. Gianna Gardner goes out and wins the championship for Canamac again. I kind of buried the lead there, but Canamac wins this championship at Tricata, kind of a tournament that's kind of rotated champions the last couple of years. McGuffey won it last year, I think for the first time ever. I had their coach on. Canamac goes out and wins it this year over, some really game squads, Trinity being one of them. John Emma wins the championship at 133 pounds. Lucas Barr over Drake McClure at 139. Collier Hartman over Emmett Wolf. Collier Hartman looking to get back on his ways. Another tech fall there. 21-4. Owen Ifsick over Kristen Lothar. Owen again wrestling pretty well. Power replace winner going out, getting the championship here at 160 pounds. Alec Palco for Jeff Morgan, a guy that, I've been super impressed with. He's young. I watched him wrestle at, I believe it was a Southwest Junior PA, the WPIAL 7 tournament that's out at Kiski and things of that nature. He is a dog and just continued his path. I'm super impressed with this championship here. I'm excited to see what he does the rest of the year. Bryce Collins, another young buck that I'm super impressed with. And he gets the championship over Tegan Barr at 189 pounds. Very good stuff for the Canamac Big Mac. And then the next one here, the other Collins loses in the finals. Braden Collins, both these Collins boys are studs for Canamac. And that's why Canamac is so tough. They got studs at each level with their lineup. It's just very tough to beat when you can't bump away from all those studs. So again, Noah Lehue wins the championship here after winning the championship at Southmoreland. He is on a warpath. Very impressive stuff. And Colin White going out, win the championship here at 285. Another guy that is on a warpath, placing really high Powerade, and running through the Tricata tournament. Man, he is super, super impressive. All right, let's see where we're at. I think we got to dive into. So Bo Wood was also this weekend. We can kind of sneak into there real quick. See if they have the complete results. Let's see. So Plum goes out and takes second. Seneca Valley third. Indiana fourth. West Mifflin fifth. Mifflinburg wins the championship by a pretty wide margin there. Nonetheless, good tournament. All right, let's scoot down to the finals here. Riley Smith, a guy that at 107, he's part of that freaking class at 107 pounds, man. That's I talked about it a little bit in my coaches interviews, man. 107, 114, 107 last year. I assume it's, it's shaping up that same way this year. 114 last year, same thing this year. These two weight classes are nuts. I mean, it goes so deep. I mean, you can go 6, 7, 8 in the WPIAL that can make it out to states. I truly believe that. It's just impressive stuff. The depth there at 107, 114 pounds. I think this year specifically, and you see, a double weight guy there, Javion Chambers, went in at 114 pounds, a guy that Kaz is super fond of. Damon Phipps from Penn Hills wins the championship at 121. LaShawn Haley, I'm sorry, from West Mifflin wins at 127 pounds. And, they get the championship over two Indiana guys, that being Spells at 121 and Blystone at 127 there for the Indiana Indians. Wagner over Cash at 139. Wagner for Mifflinburg there. Klein for Plum takes second at 139. I'm sorry, over Cash was 133. Klein was 139. Lehue, Zach Hill over Lehue at 145. So that's impressive stuff. Zach Hill, another guy that I've talked to the coaches over there at Seneca Valley a bunch about. I mean, I think he's just like one of the more athletic dudes I've ever seen. Whenever he wants to go get something, he does it. He's just impressive. Owen Campbell, another guy I talked a little bit about earlier in the show. Just a dog. I expect him to, do his thing the rest of the year and have a really good chance to find his way to the state tournament. Cooper Dietz over there at West Mifflin wins the 160-pound class. Michael Lawrence, a guy that we've talked about there for Chartiers Valley, and Coach Evans wins the championship at 172 pounds. And I know the next one, I'm sure Coach told me, but I apologize. But Musa Beck, I'm going to call him. They're at 189 pounds, takes second there for the Char Valley Colts. Another guy there. And next one down the list, Frank Rosalius from Plum, a guy that I definitely talked about earlier, but I've been impressed with him. I think he's going to be a problem in the WPIAL at the heavyweight class. All right. Last one we have for this week before we dive into the seeds for for Westmoreland County, because I believe by now, and we can talk about that. I believe by now Kaz has had all of them released. Let's check it. Nope. Very close. Just waiting on heavyweight. Really good stuff there for Kaz over there at the WCCA seeding meeting. So here we are at the MAC tournament. Again, one of these tournaments, not, the highest end, certainly not a Powerade or a Westmoreland County or even an Allegheny County or any of those, or Midwinter Mayhem, which we'll talk about here too. I mean, that's going to be a dogfight over there at IUP. But again, let's scoot down to the finals here at the MAC. A couple interesting results I find. And I snuck out there, and I was up in the Laurel. Great hospitality there from the Laurel Spartans. Bryce Thomas over Angelo Bonney, 4-2 at 107 pounds. Thomas looking good this year, continues his path. Michael Johnson over Hayden Seymour, 12-3 at 114 pounds. Michael Johnson looking really good at 114 after winning both the MAC now and the Southmoreland Holiday Classic last week. Bruce Anderchek, a guy that was hurt earlier in the year, or last year, I'm sorry, and is back. And man, is he back full go. Tex Caden Braun, 19-4 Caden Braun, coming off a championship at Southmoreland. Ricky Hamill from West Allegheny goes out and wins the championship by tech over Reese Lagulia from Montour. Good to see Ricky Hamill from West Allegheny get on the top of the podium there. Antonio Bonney from Central Valley over Cale Yannick, and one of the premier matchups of these finals. Both high-level guys, went to overtime, one takedown match, of course, and Antonio got it. And Cale was in there a bunch of times to get to the leg, wasn't able to finish. Both these guys are going to do great things not only this year, but when they, ultimately go off to their college teams. Moving down to 139, up rather, 139, another a match that was very interesting and surprising. Olympic Serio over Thomas Bencho, 15-0. Serio's impressive, man. Young freshman from Mars, has a lot of different tricks in the bag, a lot of different stuff that he pulls out, and he is strong as an ox. So he is going to be problems. Of course, Thomas Benchko, tough loss there, but coming off a championship at Southmoreland, I fully expect him to get back on the horse and keep doing his thing. Harper Sipes over Zach Rigotti, sorry, buddy, from Moon, 5-3 in the championship there. Rook Smith over Ethan Bosco at 152. Matt Dana over Braxton Carr. Liam Costa over Dominique Willis. Michael Ozuski from Moon over Trey Dunlap, another guy that these Moon guys, man, I again, kind of buried the lead, but you guys can kind of see here as we get towards the later stage. Moon won this championship over West Allegheny. Impressive stuff for the Moon Tigers as they win their second tournament championship of the year. They won the Chartiers Houston tournament earlier in the year. So really good stuff there for the Moon Tigers and Coach Morocco and company. Colton Carlson wins the championship over Razapur from Moon at 215. And Casey Wilson gets it done 4-3 over Cam Dana in the finals. Cam Dana was on a roll there. Casey Wilson stops the roll, and it was a very tight back and forth match. Came down to one takedown, and that was it. So very impressive stuff for Casey Wilson to get his hand raised in his home gym there at Laurel. Okay. Let's stop sharing this for a minute. And if I may, let me see if I can look this up here. All right. So that was kind of last weekend's tournament. Again, so much stuff has happened, so much wrestling as the real first page is turned in the season. I always say that when you get that 2 pounds, that's kind of when wrestling season really starts to gear up. See where these kids kind of shift and move in weights, and the tournaments, the holiday tournaments are always really, really good. So this is like one of the best times of year. Obviously, it's the thick of it. So as we look forward to this week, couple big tournaments, and if you guys are in the area, go watch these kids wrestle. I mean, they freaking are putting in the work week in and week out, day in and day out. Go out and watch these kids scrap. I love it. Burgettstown Invitational Tournament. I will tell you guys, I am having the finals on the YouTube channel. So if you guys are not around, or if you are at another tournament, you want to check out the finals. I'm not going to have, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to have the high quality production that I have had the last couple times. Leaps is down with the Cannon Mac crew down there, and they're going down to Florida for a tournament down there. So I kind of got my own setup, but it's going to be your boy D Hall hanging out. We're going to talk finals. I got the mayor of Burgettstown who's going to be my color analyst. It's going to be a fantastic time there. I believe Coach Vigilotti said that's going to start around 12 or 1-ish, something along those lines. Just going to be a great time. So, you guys, obviously, I preach this, but I'm always on this page. The time spent on this PA wrestling page, go check it out. All these teams, tons and tons of WPIAL teams, along with some out-of-state teams that Coach brings in. Really great tournament over there at Burgettstown. Midwinter Mayhem. It's not Powerade, but damn, it's close. Like, this thing's no joke. It's at the Kovalchuk Center at IUP. Again, if you're out there in that area, that is it's a haul for me, but man, it is worth it. You will see some fantastic wrestling out there. Really great stuff. These guys are one of the best tournaments on the WPIAL schedule, no doubt about it. You get to see some of those teams come down from the middle of the state and even some of the teams from the east side of the state. So it's really good to see data points on where these guys are at for the WPIAL. Of course, we do get to see a couple of those WPIAL matchups. They do tend to happen there, just like at Powerade. The high-level guys kind of seeing them meet, whether it's on the front or the back side of the bracket. Just really good stuff over there at the Kovalchuk Center. And we look down this list of teams here. Let's see here. Bang. So Butler, Elizabeth Forward, Highlands, Neighborhood Academy, North Allegheny, Penn Trafford, Peters Township, PCC, Pittsburgh Central Catholic, Thomas Jefferson, and West Allegheny. Really good tournament there. And I feel like there would be more, but with it being this weekend, county weekend, and I think that is the next thing to get into. I'm super pumped up. Let's dive into these seeds. And again, let's see here. Kaz should have them all released on his Twitter, and he does as of 1 minute ago. So you guys are getting the latest in breaking news here on Near Falls in the WPIAL. Super pumped to bring it to you guys. So 107 there for the seeds at the Westmoreland County tournament. Luca Patera from Norwin is your 1 seed. Grayson Guglielmo from Belvern is your 2 seed. Mason Keysecker from Derry is your 3 seed. Sal Colangelo is your 4 seed. Jax Brentzel is your 5 seed. Maddox Mahalik from Latrobe is your 6. Carl Thomas is your 7. And Makoya Johnson is your 8. Looking down that one, man. That Brentzel's really good, boys. Colangelo's no joke. I'm excited to see the semis and finals of that one. Even the quarters are going to be really good. All right. 114. Patrick Knoll from Kiski is your 1 seed. Paxton Knoll from Kiski is your 1 seed. Patrick Bolger from Derry is your 2 seed. Braden Broadwater from BV is your 3 seed. Connor Visnick from Franklin is your 4. Marco Angeliclio from Latrobe is your 5. Austin Peapot from Southmoreland is your 6. Tommy McPherson from York is your 7. And Braden Alexander is your 8. You guys know I butcher names, but looking down that list, Bolger's really tough. He was a blood round guy at Powerade. Knoll, I've watched him wrestle at the Burrow Kiski match. He is a problem. Yeah, nice little weight class there before you get to, in my mind, maybe the premier weight class of the WCCA. Landon Sidden is your 1 seed here at 121 pounds. Kaz forgot the market there, but it is 121 pounds. Is Landon Sidden from Norwin is your 1 seed. Nico Kapusta is your 2 seed. Dylan Barrett is your 3 seed. Titus Colangelo is your 4 seed. Kai Maxwell is your 5 seed. Raiden Thomas is your 6 seed. Parker Holt is your 7, and Chase Brown is your 8. You look at those top 3, top 4, even Kai Maxwell is pretty damn good too. I mean, that weight class is really good. I mean, Sidden's the favorite, of course, the number 1 guy in the country, right? But man, the next couple guys on that list are no joke. All right, 127. Cam Baker from Burrow is your 1. Nate Carsuchlio is your 2. Luke DeSantis is your 3. Colton Klippa is your 4. I mean, that I'm going to say it a bunch, but this weight class is freaking good here. Sal Nassif is your 7. Dylan Bateman. Yeah, this is a good one too. I love the county tournament. You guys do it right out there. It's really good stuff. And I saw on the website, and I actually talked to, and we'll pause there at 127, going to 133. I talked to Smitty, of course. Smitty and the boys are having the coverage. I believe it's like 70 plus years they're doing the tournament out there. have been doing the tournament. That's wild. That's wild stuff. I love it. I know that like history is a little gnarly to some people. I used to be that guy, but like with certain stuff like this, man, just to have 70 years of that county battling each other, and of course, some of the names that have come out not only recently, but over the last couple decades, just impressive stuff. A guy that we talked a bunch about tonight, Curtis Jones, the Jones brothers. I mean, the list goes on and on. Nico Megaludis, the whole freaking, I don't even need to get into it. I don't need to get into it. I'll be here all night. All right. 133, Gavin Murphy from Kiski is your 1 seed. A guy that I've been impressed with. He is pretty damn good. Carter Thomas is your 2. Colin Busicone from Franklin is your 3. Cam Olsen is your 4. Ty King is your 5. Dom Butera is your 6. Jake Lang is your 7. Yusuf Betts is your 8. All right. 139 pounds. Chase Smith is your 1 seed. Jake Stewart is your 2 seed. Jackson Pollock from Kiski is your 3 seed. Will McNeil from there is your 4. Brooks Blasco is your 5. That's a really damn good weight right there, fellas and ladies. That's a good one. I like that. Micah McGeary is your 6. Logan Pigler is your 7. And Noah Somerville is your 8 there, 139. 145, Max Firestein from Franklin is your 1. Nate Klingensmith is your 2. Caden Crawford is your 3. Jake Halstead is your 4. Carter Brizup is your 5. Mike McNeil is your 6. Logan Scuda is your 7. And Ben Murphy is your 8. 152, Julian Bertucci from Burrow is your 1. Mikey Ruane is your 2. Tristan Torkowitz is your 3. Noah Kern is your 4. Dom Angelicio is your 5. Dylan Clayton is your 6. Vander Roskowski is your 7. Dom Liscotti is your 8. There, 152. All right. Again, I mean, that's a really good one. I'm looking at some of these weight classes. I'm glad I don't make predictions until the end of the year because I don't like doing that until it counts. But man, it's gnarly stuff. Like these dudes are good. Jack White, your 1. Logan Mastrich is your 2. Antonio Perkins is your 3. Jordan Perks is your 4. Colby Hibner is your 5. Tyler Bollinger is your 6. Adrian Valdez is your 7. Gabe Doppelhauer is your 8. There at 160 pounds. 172, the Powerade place winner, Mason Horwatt from Derry is your 1. Ethan Cartwright from Franklin is your 2. Sydney Hand from PT is your 3. Ben Catullo from Burrow is your 4. Travis Shear from Kiski is your 5. Abe Taylor is your 6. I want to talk about a sneaky 6 seed? Abe Taylor is a sneaky 6 seed. Elijah Miller is your 7. Riley Schaefer is your 8. 189, another really good weight class, specifically at the top. Mario Hutcherson is your 1. Hunter Snyder is your 2. Evan McManus is your 3. Tanner Schaefer is your 4. William Tomko is your 5. Braden Tenali is your 6. Josh Schilzner is your 7. And Jeremiah Dawson is your 8. Moving on up 215, another really high end class here. The top couple guys here. Elijah Brown is your 1. Cooper Roskowski is your 2. Aiden Kuhn is your 3. Jake Mundorf is your 4. Peyton Van is your 5. Nico Dominic is your 6. Achilles Kaufman is your 7. And Deacon Grant is your 8. And the big boys. Caden Shannon from Southmoreland is your 1. John Montgomery is your 2. Jonah Furley is your 3. Sebastian Somerville is your 4. Justin Pabuga is your 5. David Peters is your 6. Alex Akerley is your 7. And Paxton Shum is your 8 seed there at 285 pounds. Again, that, if you guys are in the area, I believe it's at Greensburg, Salem this year. If you guys are in the area, make your way out there. I mean, It is a really good tournament. Of course, the finals will be on Westmoreland Sports Network if you can't be out there. But man, find your way to one of these tournaments. Find your way. Some other stuff going on as we see what we got here tournament wise. Gettysburg Doles, Connellsville is going out there as they'll see some of the better teams in the middle of the state. Hershey, Gettysburg, State College, things of that nature. Mountaineer Doles, couple squads going down there. Freedom. Let's see. Elwood City's going to Northwestern Doles, and then Virginia Doles. Let's see. McGuffey is sneaking down there to the Virginia Doles, and I talked about him. I talked about that with their head coach when he was on the show last year. And again, they are sneaky. I believe they just had a guy commit somewhere. Say it was Lucas Barr committed to Washington and Jefferson, I want to say, which is great stuff. Another small school there picking up some more WPIAL love, more WPIAL hammers. All right, guys. Man, what a show. I know I packed a lot in there. I've been on there for an hour and 21 minutes. Two fantastic guests. Again, thank you, Coach Maisner. Thank you, Mr. Lucas Kapusta, coming on. Both you guys, I really appreciate it. Hanging out with me, sharing the insight, talking about your season, and really looking forward to seeing what you guys do the rest of the year. And again, thank you to our sponsors for supporting the show: D1 Wrestling Club, Quest School of Wrestling, Fox Run Golf Course, Maisner Valley Golf Club and Golf Course over there in Export, PA, and of course, Reversal Health and Wellness. I appreciate you guys. And man, it's going to be a great week. Again, check out Westmoreland County Sports Network. Check out my YouTube channel this week. This weekend, this Saturday, I'm going to be over at the Burgettstown tournament. Super excited to do that for those guys. Again, it's not going to be the same qualities when I got the Leaps and the crew there. They're going to be down in Florida, which who can blame them? But it's going to be a great time over there at Burgettstown. I'm super excited to see all those guys, and I'm excited to see what happens there at Westmoreland County. I mean, that's going to be interesting to break down with Kaz next week whenever he comes back on the show, and we talk about some of the semis and finals there, and then of course one of the best non-Powerade tournaments of the season, Midwinter Mayhem. It's fantastic. So see who comes out of the rubble over there, and see how many guys we can get on the podium for that tournament. So super thankful for you guys hanging out with me tonight. Again, over an hour and 20 minutes. I've been yapping at you guys, messing up words and all kinds of names and stuff, but it's always a good time hanging out and talking wrestling, talking about the WPIAL stars, and two great guests again. Thank you. So that is all the time we have for your boy, D Hall. Until next time, later.